The NBA restart is officially underway, with multiple scrimmage matches being played over the last few days. It's been so exciting to have some basketball action back, and it's getting a lot of fans excited for the upcoming playoffs. Last year, I made a video about 5 NBA players that needed to step up in the playoffs, and had a lot to prove to everyone. And you guys seem to enjoy that a lot, so I figured I'd make it again, but as a 2020 edition. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at 5 players who I believe have a lot to prove in the NBA restart, whether that be turning around a slump they've been in, proving they are still a top NBA player, or showing fans they can win a playoff series. You get the idea. Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by August, so all support would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, with that all being said, let's get right into this top 5.
Lucas.
Number 5. Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell has had another solid season this year for the Utah Jazz. He averaged 24.2 points per game this season, with 4 rebounds and 4 assists to go along with that, and shot quite efficiently overall, having a 56 true shooting percentage, the best of his career. The reason why Donovan Mitchell is on this list is not necessarily because he struggled this season or has been in a slump as of late. It's more about what he's done in previous seasons. Because though Donovan Mitchell was amazing in the first round series against OKC back in 2018, every playoff series since, he has been shocking in. In the entire 2018 playoffs, Donovan Mitchell averaged 24 points a game and 6 rebounds, both improvements from his regular season averages of 2018, but he shot horrifically overall, particularly from deep, only connecting on 32% of his 3-point attempts. In 2019, it got worse, as in the first round series against the Rockets, Mitchell shot 32% from the field and 26% from 3. That is plain awful, and he really has just struggled to get in any sort of rhythm in the playoffs during his career. In fact, out of every player in NBA history to shoot over 100 shots in the playoffs, Donovan Mitchell has the second worst efficiency out of them all. That is something you hate to hear if you're a Jazz supporter, and it really shows just how poor Mitchell has been throughout his playoff career offensively. With apparent chemistry issues with his star teammate in Rudy Gobert, Mitchell really needs to lift these playoffs if the Jazz are to be any chance of going far. He is the number 1 offensive threat on the Jazz, and if the poor performances continue, so will his reputation of being a playoff underperformer. It is early in his career, so I don't want to hate too much now, but Mitchell must prove everyone wrong and have a good playoff run with the Utah Jazz, where he plays respectably offensively, because otherwise I struggle to see them getting past the first round. These playoffs aren't going to be legacy defining at all for Mitchell, don't get it twisted, but again, if his team wants to have any sort of success once the NBA restarts, Donovan Mitchell needs to step it up. Number 4. James Harden and Russell Westbrook. I'm combining Harden and Westbrook here because both play on the Rockets and both face similar circumstances and reasons why they need to prove themselves in these playoffs. James Harden and Russell Westbrook have been under a lot of scrutiny in their NBA careers, particularly lately, for multiple reasons, but the majority of their haters love to bring up their lack of playoff success. Though both players have made the NBA Finals and have been great first options for their respective teams, when it comes down to the most important moments, they tend to either shy away or so-called choke. This tends to happen when both players face elimination, such as Harden in Game 6 against the Warriors last year, and Westbrook in Game 5 against Portland. In those games, both players struggled. In order for the Rockets to have any decent success in these playoffs, Harden and Russ need to step up their game and be consistent, and don't let the pressure get to their heads in the big time moments. The Rockets have an extremely unique roster, and one I believe, as a fan of Houston, could go a long way if they maximize their potential. In the scrimmage against Toronto, I did see flashes of that, so I am quietly confident. However, the pressure is still on these two more than ever to prove they are legitimately great players, not just in the regular season, but in the playoffs too. And if they fail to do so, it could tarnish their legacy forever. However, if they do step up, go on a solid playoff run, and don't have any choking moments, Harden and Russ could shut their haters up just for now and prove they aren't as bad in the playoffs as they are made out to be. Will it happen though? It's hard to say right now, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Number 3. Damian Lillard. The reason why Damian Lillard is here is a bit different from the others so far on this list. It isn't about a lack of playoff success or poor playoff performances, though with that said, Lillard hasn't been a great shooter in his playoff career, which I will touch on later, but the reason why Lillard is mainly here is because him and the Blazers need to prove they are still a legit team. Many people say the big reason why the Blazers were so mediocre and struggled compared to last year was because of injuries, and I do agree with that, but now with a fully healthy roster and with their key centre back in Nurkic, the Trailblazers have nothing to lose. If they fail to make the playoffs, I think this season is a disappointment for them, because even though, again, injuries have hurt them a lot this season, the NBA has given them such a big chance to make it back into the playoff picture. This break has given them the chance to get fully healthy and prepare to make a run at the 8th seed or the 9th seed, which is okay too. They just need to win the play-in tournament. Basically, Lillard and the Blazers just need to make the playoffs, because otherwise I would view this season as disappointing, especially considering how far they went last year. Another reason why Lillard has a lot to prove these playoffs, if the Blazers make it, is his poor shooting over recent years. This isn't too big of a problem in my book, but apart from round 1 in last year's playoffs, Dame did struggle big time to get in his groove, and in previous years, the same has happened. Over his career, Dame has shot 40% from the field and 35% from 3 in the playoffs, and obviously, that isn't a good look. I think his team's success and his insane clutch moments does help cover this poor shooting, but I think Lillard will need to have a good shooting playoff run to prevent the scrutiny that may arrive once more people recognize his bad splits. Overall, Lillard and the Blazers need to make the playoffs in the season's return in order to prove they're still a decent team. And when those playoffs arrive, Lillard really needs to improve his efficiency, because his current numbers do not look good at all on his legacy. Number 2. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo has been the most dominant NBA player over the last couple seasons and is likely to win his second MVP in 2 years. However, one thing that has stained Giannis Antetokounmpo's elite 2019 and 2020 seasons is his poor playoff runs in recent memory. Though the Bucks did make the Eastern Conference Finals last year, people still expected them to comfortably win that series against the Raptors and make a finals berth. That obviously didn't happen, and the Raptors defended Giannis perfectly in that series, so Antetokounmpo did somewhat underperform. This now puts some extra stress on Giannis as we get closer to this year's playoffs, because if the Bucks yet again fail to make the finals, I think a lot more people will start slandering Giannis due to his inability to have any real playoff success. Basically, the pressure is on Giannis these playoffs, as he needs to prove to everyone that he can lead the Bucks to a finals appearance. Considering he's a back-to-back MVP, going that far should be expected by the franchise and their fans, but if he doesn't, Giannis could be placed in a similar boat to a James Harden, a regular season player or a playoff choker / underperformer, which could stain his legacy temporarily. The Bucks were so dominant this regular season, and for them to yet again fall short is not a good look, especially for their one and only superstar Giannis, which is why, in my opinion, he has so much to prove this season. Number 1. LeBron James. And finally, we have LeBron James. After missing the playoffs in 2019, LeBron and the Lakers, with new addition Anthony Davis, have finally returned to the playoff picture, and now LeBron has to prove he's still capable of leading a team to the championship. This season is championship or bust for the Lakers, and though this season is in some strange circumstances, anything less than a championship will certainly hurt LeBron's legacy. His finals record already isn't great. Getting knocked out before the finals puts a dent in this year, especially if it's to the other LA team. Really, for LeBron, this season is a must win. He's also getting older, and who knows how much longer LeBron will be at his peak performance or simply play on an MVP level like he did this season. So this may be one of his last years to get that elusive 4th ring. Simply put, LeBron has to win the championship this year to keep his legacy amongst the legends like Jordan alive. I know the GOAT debate between him and MJ doesn't exist as much anymore, but a championship this season would be a huge boost for him in his chase of the Ghost from Chicago. It's one of his last, but also one of his best chances to win it all, so all Lakers fans can hope is that he makes the most of it. And that will conclude the video. What do you guys think of this? Do you agree with my 5 players who have the most to prove? Did I miss anyone? Let me know all your thoughts on this down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.